So the Switch 2 pre-orders have been delayed, and there's one word on everyone's lips, and that is tariffs. Will the Nintendo Switch 2 price go up from $450? Will it get delayed? And more importantly, here's a question that I think we need to talk about, and which would be great to talk about from Polygon, of all people, of all our websites. How quickly could Nintendo move Switch 2 production to the US to avoid Trump's tariffs and avoid a price increase altogether? We're going to be answering that question in this video. Please like, subscribe, click the bell icon if you love Nintendo, you love gaming. I'd really love if you took time to click the like button down below and maybe join our community, because we cover Nintendo Switch 2 every single day on the channel. And we also have a 24-hour stock tracking stream for the Switch 2 on my channel right now. Go check the link in the video description or top comment. Go visit my channel page, bookmark, like, and just check on the Switch 2 stock tracking stream. It's going to be a vital resource when pre-orders open to help you beat scalpers and bots to getting your Switch 2. It's going to have an alarm stock tracker. We're going to remove the direct video, and it's going to have a constant 24-hour alarm that will alert you if you keep the stream up, for as long as you keep the stream up, to when the Switch 2 pre-orders go live, and also when they restock. Okay, so it's going to be really handy for you. Check it out if you want to. So I thought this was a really interesting article from Polygon here. Obviously, tariffs have been, controversial. We're wondering if the Switch 2 is going to be delayed. Obviously, the pre-orders were supposed to go live on April 9th, but they didn't because they've been postponed indefinitely, even in Canada, despite Canada not being the US, because of tariffs, and we don't know if the price is going to go up, etc. We don't know how Nintendo is going to navigate them. Nintendo did try and mitigate tariffs by moving a lot of production, I believe, to Cambodia and Taiwan, or countries outside China, right, to hopefully mitigate these tariffs, because they knew tariffs were going to be coming, but unfortunately Cambodia also got hit with tariffs like 46%, and that got reduced to 10% as of yesterday, but they're still going to be hit. But the best way to avoid tariffs altogether, at least in the US, is to basically move Nintendo Switch 2 production to the US. Open up factories in the US, have people produce Switch 2 in the US. How long would that take to do? Well, we're going to answer that. So, longer than you think is what Polygon says. And they've actually got an economics guy coming in here to discuss this, right, and answer that question. So, no stupid questions. If Nintendo wanted to avoid any hefty tariffs imposed by the US administration, how quickly could it move Switch 2 production to the US? Obviously, the president has done a partial rollback on the tariffs already, but let's get hypothetical here. The short answer is that it would take a lot more time than you would think. And the long answer is the same reason why every major hardware manufacturer that heavily relies on factories outside the US, like Apple, has been scrambling to find alternative solutions. Now, New York University Stern School of Business economics professor has actually weighed in on this, Joseph Furi. He says such a move would take absolutely years. Nintendo would have to set up a final assembly factory in the US, which means finding land, building a facility, and recruiting a workforce. And according to Financial Times, Nintendo currently manufactures more than half of its hardware in Vietnam and Cambodia. The rest is in China. A move to the US for assembling Switch 2 units would require importing all the custom parts and paying the tariffs anyway. On top of that, Nintendo would have to shell out for the higher cost of labor in the US. So either way, prices would go up if it was manufactured in the US, unless we find a way of, getting cheap labor in the US. If Apple were to do this, the cost to make an iPhone could nearly double, according to Bank of America analysts. The iPhone's already hella expensive. Can you imagine if it got manufactured here? The price would double. That wouldn't be very good. The only way for Nintendo to completely avoid the tariffs would be to set up even more factories in the US to make each and every part of the Switch 2 in the States, stretching the timeline out even further. By way of example, Apple has faced increased costs and risks due to its reliance on China, dating back to the first Trump administration, and it's taken years to move even a fraction of its production to places like Vietnam and India, Furi said. So it's taken years basically just to move the production from China to Vietnam and India. That's also when Nintendo moved some of its Switch production away from China and into Vietnam and Cambodia. That 6-year-old decision might be the only way Nintendo can sidestep the staggering 125% tariff on Chinese imports that went into effect on Wednesday. Further centralizing Switch 2 production in those countries could minimize the impact. On Wednesday, Trump dropped every country's tariff except China down to 10% for the next 90 days. But if nothing changes, the tariffs on Vietnam and Cambodia could shoot back up to some of the highest costs when they're reinstated. Nintendo's best hope is that these other locations strike at least a partial trade deal with the administration, or that the industry as a whole receives an exemption, Fauci said, but it's impossible to guess the chances of either. None of this, though, is good news for those of us who winced at the $450 price tag for the Switch 2. Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser said that the tariffs did not factor into the price, but the CEO of research firm DFC Intelligence suspects that they did and predicts that there will be no price increase when pre-orders eventually go live. If he's wrong, or Trump reverses his decision on the 90-day tariff pause, the Switch 2's price might be closer to $600. Analysts told Reuters last week that iPhones could cost 30 to 40% more if Apple were to pass on the increased cost to consumers. So how quickly could Nintendo move Switch 2 production to the US? So long that it's not going to do that, at least not before the handheld launches in June. Nobody, not even Nintendo, can escape the tariffs. Nintendo, like a lot of manufacturers, is a ship in a storm that is struggling not to get hit by a big wave as best it can, but it has little control over its fate, Fauci said. So there you go, guys. If you were hoping that Nintendo could quickly, within a couple of weeks before the Switch 2 launch, open up a factory, hire hundreds or thousands of workers, and get Switch 2s manufactured on the production line, well, I've got bad news for you. It's not going to happen. We're going to have to face these tariffs one way or the other, whether we get a price increase, whether it's up to $600, or whether the tariffs get reversed, or whether Nintendo just keeps the price the same and eats the extra 10% tariff. We don't know yet. But I will keep you up to date, all right? I will keep you up to date. And if you want to stay up to date on news, Switch 2 news, stock tracking, these are going to be really hard to get your hands on just because of the stock situation, because of the tariffs. These things are going to sell out extremely fast, and I hope to help you get one. So stay tuned. Check out our 24-hour stock tracking stream for the Switch 2. Keep it up. I'm going to be removing the Nintendo Direct, which is playing right now, and putting the stock tracking script up here for you guys. So stay tuned. Get ready. Grab your Red Bulls, because it's going to be a crazy ride for the next couple of weeks as we count down the last 55 days before the Switch 2 reveal. It's going to be hella fun, and I'm here for the ride. Please like, subscribe, click the bell icon if you want to stay up to date on Switch 2 news, tech, all that good stuff on the channel. I'm Blaze2K. Thank you for being here. Check the links down below for some really cool Switch 2 accessories as well, and a bunch of other great deals in tech and all that good stuff. Anyways, I'm Blaze, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great Thursday, better Friday, and an even better weekend. See you in the next one, guys. Peace out.